Hi there, hello, this is me, it's Moscow here, and this is the Leedsista Libre Podcast. You may know me from writing things like the book 100 Years of Leeds United and the film Do You Want to Win, and lots of things for the Square Ball magazine and being on the TSB Podcast for lots of time. And throughout all that time, or at least back to 2017, I was also reading out everything that I wrote on a podcast feed, which I still do. I do that at Leedsista.com, and if you want to pay me money to hear my voice reading the things that I've written, you can do that. Just do it now by going straight to Leedsista.com and cutting out all the rest of this. But if you'd like to listen to something for free, I thought it might be interesting, fun, educational, examination of history, because a lot of this stuff is quite old now, of going back to some of the recordings that I've done over the last nearly 10 years and bringing them back into present day for you to listen to and be delighted by. Starting with something that I actually wrote relatively recently at the start of this season, but about a goal that was scored a long time ago, back in 1978-79, at the start of that season. Tony Currie at Highbury hitting the ball first time. And it's something that's also available if you go to shop.leedsista.com. I did a fanzine of this that I handed around in various places in Leeds to try and promote Leedsista as a website. And if you want to give me the price of the postage, I will send you one for free. You can pay me more than the price of the postage on shop.leedsista.com. There's a little tip thing at the checkout, but that's entirely, that's just down to your generosity. But if you just like some paper in the post, go to shop.leedsista.com and look for the Tony Currie fanzine on there. If you just want to hear what I said about the goal, well, just keep listening. You'll hear it now.
He took the shot first time, Tony Currie. First chance he got, no delay, and most importantly, not even a doubt. There wasn't another player in the league who could miss this chance because there wasn't another one brave enough to try it, or mad enough to try it. And when Tony Currie tried it, he scored. First time. Hitting it first time. This is the opening day of the 1978-79 season. This is the 7th minute of the first game. This is Arsenal hosting Leeds United at Highbury, North London. Those are the Gunners' fans behind the goal line, a couple of feet in front, and behind the sideline, a couple of feet right. There's George Graham on the Arsenal wing. There's David O'Leary, the young man in defence. That's Pat Jennings, the international goalkeeper regarded as the best in the business. Behind him is the goal, where the ball wants putting. But where is Tony Currie? Tony Currie is in London, his hometown, after a good summer, feeling the sun on his arms. They're reddening pleasantly below the shoulders of his bright yellow Leeds United shirt. His shirt has a big and blocky number 10 stitched on the back, so everybody can see it's being worn by Tony Currie. Everybody can see that he is running around the outside of Eddie Gray, the winger drifting centrally, with Alan Clark's number 8 on his back. Everything is unusual since Don Revie left Leeds. Tony Currie is on his way towards the corner flag, running free, while all Arsenal's defenders are worrying about Eddie. They're right to worry about Eddie, because everything Eddie can do from this position is contained in what he does next. He can dribble past 3 players, he can shoot, he can cut towards the wing and cross, and he can play a long ball over the pitch to the far wing. He can do anything. He's Eddie Gray, and all those things Eddie can do are contained within what Eddie does do, which is pass the ball down the line into the path of Tony Currie's run. The weight on that pass is sublime. It has been sublime since 1964. From an exalted start, that pass has been refined over years. Years when Eddie was being told by John Giles to play it better, when Terry Cooper was demanding it better, when Don Revie was bluffing through a list of players he'd buy to do it better, by Eddie Gray's pride in everything he does being the best. And then that quality can still catch you by surprise when you notice it, when the weight on the pass is so good that the player Eddie is giving the ball to is given the ball with choices, possibilities, a gift of imagination from Eddie Gray. Go on, Tony, son. Now imagine all the things you can do with that ball. Eddie probably still expected Tony would cross it. This isn't some knockabout down the park. This is First Division football. This is serious business. This is the opening day of a new league season, another chance for Leeds United to climb back to the top. This is a long trip to London with win bonuses on the line. You play to win and you play for the team, and the team has a new centre forward waiting in the middle, a big blue number 9 on his back, John Hawley. The sensible move, the First Division move, the professional footballer's move would be 3 moves. Bring the ball under control, look up to see where the striker is, cross the ball to him, to John Hawley. Hawley has just come from Hull City after they were relegated to the 3rd Division. He joined Hull in 1972, playing for them as an amateur until 1976 while working in his family's antique business. Manager Jimmy Armfield had paid £81,000 for him in the summer, then taken heavy hints from the boardroom and left. Leeds don't have a manager. Maurice Lindley is the caretaker in the dugout, as he had been after Brian Clough left in 1974, and the new striker is playing his first First Division game. The professional move is to control the ball, look up to see where the new boy is. Running to the front post, sensible. Good running, John. He'll score goals that way. Now, Tony, control the ball and cross to him. Of all the things Tony Currie can imagine doing with that immaculate pass from Eddie Gray, bringing the ball to a stop would be like turning and slapping Eddie Gray in the face. Currie had to work hard to earn passes like this from Eddie Gray. Before he came to Elland Road, the Leeds players thought he was just a showman, a show-off, an entertainer. Then the professionals of Leeds United saw how he played with them and, led by Gray, were furious with him. It was a compliment, Currie realised. They'd seen that he was one of them, but he hadn't been playing like one of them. Eddie Gray told him, "You should have been a better player." But Tony Currie was never as confident as the players in the great Leeds United team. Only on the field, with the ball coming to his feet, did he feel like someone better than himself. In 1973, Tommy Docherty had wanted him to go to Old Trafford to replace Bobby Charlton. Currie was still with Sheffield United, only 2 seasons out of Division 2. He might have gone if they'd not put it like that. But replacing Bobby Charlton, that was a big thing, Currie once told journalist Graham Hunter. And so, I didn't do it. He didn't think he could do it. But when he got to Leeds 3 years later, everyone there could see he could have done it. And after working so hard for so long to make so much of his own talents, Eddie Gray despaired of Tony, that he hadn't done the same and been the player he should have been. Now Eddie wants him to help Leeds be the team they should be again, but they can never be what they were under Don Revie again. So when he passes the ball down the line into Currie's overlapping run, he's opening up where once the football, the dossiers, the instructions might have shut the game down. Players like Eddie were given permission in Revie's last season to start forgetting all that, to expand into joy, to play like the new smiley badge on their chests. The team had been about sensible haircuts and well-planned wins. Tony Currie was about long blonde hair around his shoulders and permissiveness on the ball, play as colourful as Admiral shirts. Even Eddie had grown a beard at one point. He shaved it off again, but it couldn't unhappen. So when he played the ball down the line to Tony Currie, he knew Tony might do the professional thing, control it and cross it. But Eddie played that ball the best way he knew how, so that if Tony had a better idea, he could do that too. First time. What even was the idea? If I say I meant to put it in the top corner, Tony once said, laughing and looking back, but I hit it at the goal. First time. From out wide, from far up, from the hardest place on the pitch to even see the goal, let alone shoot a ball into it. From that angle, out on the right, a few feet from the goal line, perspective shrinks the target to 2 tall white posts, one next to the other, with an international goalkeeper in between, and using all the confidence you don't have off the field, you can only believe that the goal is there. You can't see the back of the net. It's all about trusting what you can't see, not even believing in what you know, but believing in what you can feel. It's not instinct because you've thought about this, but it isn't practice because who would practice shooting from here? It's faith. Faith in Eddie, faith in you, faith in your friend the football. You won the ball in midfield. You gave it to Eddie. You ran 50 yards around him. Eddie gave it you back. Eddie wants to give you everything. Eddie wants you to be everything that you should have been. Eddie gives the ball back to you with everything he has, and it's a gift. You're running. You can't see the goal. You can't see the net. Nobody can score from here. You can. You hit it. First time. You hit it first time, and it accelerates and swerves, and Pat Jennings doesn't see the ball. He only feels the breeze from it cooling him on this sunny hot day opening the season at Highbury. And the ball goes into the top corner, and Eddie Gray goes to Tony Currie and hugs him tight. "Oh, what a beautiful goal by Tony Currie," says Brian Moore, commentating, trying to think of something more to say. "What an amazing goal." "Well, it was a cross shot, skillfully bent with the outside of his right foot," wrote Malcolm Foley in the Daily Express. "A sensational shot," wrote Ken Montgomery in the Mirror, "flying past Arsenal's captain-keeper Pat Jennings from a ridiculous angle." "The goal was as scorching as the summer sunshine," wrote Alan Hobie in the Sunday Express. "A tremendous right-footed drive from the craziest of angles, just outside the box and about 5 yards from the byline." Hobie had asked Pat Jennings about it. "I had no chance," he said. Geoffrey Green, writing about it in the Times, added some scepticism. "That's an astonishing shot. Was it really intentional?" one wondered. Tony Currie didn't have to see the net to believe it was there, but football's pundits needed to see evidence of thought to believe in intentions. Tony Currie, he'd hit it first time. Liam Brady, after equalising for Arsenal from the penalty spot, he put them ahead in the second half by advancing towards the penalty area from the left, gingerly, nearing its edge, then shooting an arrow across and past David Harvey. All Brady's processes were laid out clearly for analysis. Leeds got a point thanks to Trevor Cherry's goal, making it 2-2 after Currie surged down the left and crossed. The ball came to Cherry on the edge of the area, where he trapped it with his right, looked up, picked a spot and curled it into the far corner with his left. This was a goal you could trust, and on ITV, Brian Moore said so. "Nobody produced a more skillful goal yesterday than Trevor Cherry," he said, and a replay of it closed the broadcast of the big match. That was English football for you. Tony Currie only won 17 caps, and maybe he'd have won more if he'd played a little slower, made his movements a bit clearer, made it more obvious that his skills were as careful as Trevor Cherry's, showed everyone how much thinking he was doing about what he was doing. Thinking so quick, thinking about things nobody else was thinking about, thinking only as much as necessary, because on the football pitch that's all he, an introverted worrier off the pitch, had to do while he was playing football. Currie didn't ponder. He thought and decided and did. Don Revie was one of the England managers who didn't have much use for Tony Currie, and Tony Currie was a symbol of the post-Revie transformation of Leeds United from a clinical winning machine to something more relaxed and much less effective. Nicer hair, taller floodlights, no more trophies. But what Revie had drilled into his players, they now drilled into Tony Currie. In 2019, Eddie Gray talked about what Revie had taught him. He always said to us when we were younger, think of the 3 C's when you play football: concentration in everything you do, confidence in your ability, and most importantly of all, the courage to carry it out on a football field. That meant Tony Currie didn't have to let anyone see him thinking while he was wearing a Leeds United shirt. It meant that when Eddie Gray passed the ball to him, with everything he had, Tony Currie could give it everything he had, first time.